All right. So I'm going to wait one more minute and then I'm going to get started. Just to explain what we're going to be doing today, guys. Today, our objective is very simple. Today, we're going to be learning. First, it's review. I want to go over the French and Indian War. I want to see how confident you feel with the French and Indian War. So we're going to review it. And then after that, I'm just going to go over one thing, which is how did the colonists react to all the things the king was doing? We talked about it yesterday, the taxes, the proclamation, right? So all I'm going to do today is talk to you about their reaction, how they're slowly turning against King George III. And if you don't know who King George III is, that's all right, because today you'll get to find out in case you've been lost. All right, my boy Diego's been hooking it up. Thank you so much, Diego. Um, he's on point. You got me. All right, today he is the MVP. Let's get started. Is there anyone that needs me to wait that's having Wi-Fi problems? Okay, I'll take your silence as acceptance that you are ready to get started. Okay, just remember, it is participation. So if you try, you get credit. Um, and again, since there's no exit ticket, I'm getting the grade from here. 3, 2, 1. The first question is fairly simple, ladies and gentlemen. All I want you to do is be completely honest with me. If you understand the French and Indian War very well, pick A. If you don't, if you're confused, if there's some things that you still don't get, then pick B. There will be nothing that will go against you. Like I'm not going to tutor you or anything like that. I just want to see if the review helps because I'm going to ask you this question again after the review. So again, honesty is all I'm looking for. That's how you get credit. All right, very good. Okay, so we're kind of split. Most of us feel confident with it, and there's some of us that don't feel so confident. So I'm hoping that maybe after the review, you'll go to A. But even if you don't, I hope that at least you know a little bit more than you did at this moment right now. Okay, first thing that we're going to do is fill in the blank. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one with you. So I'm going to join your Nearpod real quick. And I'm going to do one with you, and then you're going to fill out the rest yourself. And again, remember, it's participation. Even if you get them wrong, you're still getting credit. In North America, the Blankety and the French argued over who owned the Ohio River Valley. Now, anyone in the chat want to help me out here? Help out my poor little soul. Which one do we put there? Okay, I got a couple answers here. British. British is correcto. In North America, the British and the French argued over who owned the Ohio River Valley. So that's how the whole thing starts. This war starts from them fighting over the Ohio River Valley. Okay, the rest of them, I'm gonna let you do on your own. I'm gonna give you 1 minute, see if you can fill them up without me, and then we'll review. We'll go over it. Can't keep on losing you. You got 10 more seconds, and then I'll go over it. Just so you know, that's why I'm waiting. I'm not lagging or I'm not frozen. Okay, so why did they both want it? The vast amount of fertile land. Remember that I told you um, fertile means when you can grow things in it, right? So what can we put here? Vast amount of fertile land for small. What do we know we can do with land, especially the 13 colonies? What do they love to do with land? That's right, Jacob. Farming. So land for small farming and the blankety trade available. Fur, very good. Remember that the fur had to do with the French, fur, French. So they were obsessed with the fur trade. So that's why they both wanted it. The British wanted it for the farming and for the fur. Awesome. The land was already occupied by someone though, and I think Giselle mentioned it. And Manuel also mentioned it. Very good, Manuel. Uh, the land was already occupied by the American Indians. I did try to confuse you there because usually what do I say? Native Americans, right? But I do want to give you the proper terminology. I don't know if you'll ever get to encounter an American Indian, but if you ever do, don't call them Native Americans. Call them American Indians if you're going to call them by their group or their race. But anyways, I just wanted to confuse you a little bit. But yes, the land was occupied by the American Indians, but the Native Americans in the Ohio River Valley. So that was their home. The most American Indians chose to ally with the Blankety. They had a good friendship due to trading fur with friends. So they had a great relationship with the French. Remember the three F's: fur, friends, fish. Focus on the fur and the French for this one. The French and the Native Americans or the American Indians had a good friendship, a good relationship. All righty then. Very good, very good. Let me see how it all went. It all went good. It all went good. Some of this stuff you'll get perfect scores because we're doing it together. Some of this stuff you might get wrong, but that's okay as long as you're doing it. All right, here we go. Next activity. I do need someone to help me out with this one. Who feels confident with reading? I'm going to go there first before I pick someone randomly. Who wouldn't mind reading for me? It's a short little paragraph. Or are we going to have to go random then? Don't worry, Diego, I got you because you're doing the link for me anyway, so I'm not going to pick you. In fact, I think I'm going to pick one of my ladies, one of my lovely ladies. Who to pick? Who to pick? All right. Gianna, would you do me a favor? Could you read this paragraph for us? Hopefully I don't have to restart. And I might pause you here or there, but I'll help you along. Don't worry. Okay. All right. How about this, Gianna? How about you read it, and whatever word you don't know, you stop and I'll read it for you. Does that sound good? We'll read it together. I promise I'll be right there with you. I'm going to help you through the whole thing. Okay. So I don't want to make Gianna read, but I might have to, unless someone can volunteer. Anyone want to help Gianna out? Anybody want to be a good person today? No one knows how to read here. Okay. Sorry, Gianna. It's up to you. No one wanted to help you. No one wanted to be your hero. I'm surprised. This is my honors class? My goodness. Listen, Gianna, all you have to do is read what you can, and what you cannot, I will read for you. But let's get to it, Gianna, because we're wasting time, and I don't want to keep you here for too long. We gotta get through the motions, people.
The American Indians grew increasingly concerned about the colonists filling their home in the Ohio River Valley. The American Indians started to get weapons from the French. The French encouraged the American Indians to attack the colonists and push them out of the Ohio River Valley. American Indians started to attack the colonists to keep them away from their home. In 1754, colonists from across the 13 colonies met in New York to discuss the current American Indian raids on the 13 colonies. Benjamin Franklin proposed the Albany Plan as an immediate response. The Albany Plan called for 13 colonies to join together so they can be stronger against the French. At the end, the Albany Plan was not approved to show the 13 colonies lacked unity. Based on that story, what is the relationship between American Indians and the colonists?
That was beautiful, Gianna. I don't know what you're talking about. You can read excellent. Right? Trust me, I've heard kids read, and that was not bad. By the way, I'm very disappointed in my fourth period. None of you guys wanted to help her. Man, y'all are bad. Okay, with that being said, let's talk about it real quick. First and foremost, what did the French do? Because Gianna just read it. What did the French do to encourage American Indians to continue to attack the colonists? What were they giving them? And Gianna doesn't have to answer. Not money. See, I knew you weren't paying attention to Gianna and her amazing reading. That was not money, what she said. Don't tell them, Gianna. Weapons, correct. Weapons, okay? The American Indians were given weapons by the French to attack the 13 colonies. Okay, so how did the 13 colonies react to this? What did they do? What did Gianna tell you that they did? Did they attack back? Did they start a war? What did they do? There you go, Jacob, the Albany Plan, right? So they came up with a plan. Now, let me ask someone random here. Ileana Limon, where did they meet? Where did they propose the Albany Plan? Where was the meeting where the 13 colonies gathered together and they discussed the Albany Plan? That's for Ms. Limon. What city did they meet? What state? What place? Man, y'all really want to stay here forever. That's okay with me. New York. Very good. See, I got to go back and do it again with you. Ooh, man. Boy, oh boy. Who would have thought my fourth period would struggle with this? Not me. Okay, correct. New York. And with that being said, the Albany Plan was proposed in New York for the 13 colonies. Who proposed it? Anyone here? Who proposed it? I'm sure Raul will answer or Jacob will answer. They're heroes. Who proposed the Albany Plan? Benjamin Franklin, very good. I was not counting you, Gianna, because you read. You're good. I got you. You're the only one that I'm not upset with right now. That's good. The 13 colonies, the Albany Plan was proposed to the 13 colonies by Benjamin Franklin. Benji told the 13 colonies the plan, and the plan was simple. Unite, join together, and we shall be stronger against the French, against the natives. The Albany Plan was not approved, and it showed that the 13 colonies lacked unity. So answer the question if you haven't yet. What is the relationship like between the American Indians and the colonists? Are they best friends, or do they have a toxic relationship? Hopefully I don't have to wait for anyone here. What do you think the relationship was like? Toxic or good? I'm going to give you 40 seconds to answer. Between the 13 colonies and the American Indians. Was it good or was it bad? If you think it was good, you go to A. If you think it was bad, you go to B. Hopefully, most of us understand what bad means. Bad means that it's not good, that there's bad things happening there. 10 more seconds. And most of us, I don't know who picked BFF. I don't know what kind of friends you have, whoever picked best friends, but that's not the answer, guys. Toxic. It was bad, right? They were attacking each other. The American Indians were attacking the colonists, and then the colonists were thinking of a way to hurt them back. So they were both going at each other. All right, redeem yourself, my fourth period. Answer the following questions for me. What was the Albany Plan? And you can even add images if you would prefer that. In fact, I'm going to add one to help you. Boom. Right there. Join or die. So what was the Albany Plan? Who created the political cartoon? Who created the political cartoon? Can anyone tell me? On the collaboration board, put it there. Good job, Manuel. There you go. Now we're seeing Benjamin Franklin. Good. All right. What is the title below the snake? What does it say below the snake? Hey, Jacob. There you go. Good. Join or die. Join or die. Very good. Now, can anyone tell me what were those letters at top of the snake? What do they represent? What are those letters on top of the chopped snake? So every piece of snake had a letter on it. They represent the 13 colonies. Awesome job. Man, you guys killed it. Way better. Maybe this is what I need to do more. It was a plan. I like Ethan's answer. I'm giving Ethan a lot of credit because I thought it was really good. It was a plan to combine to become stronger. Benjamin Franklin said join or die. He's trying to say that they will become more powerful. Ethan, you just answered all of them. You killed it. Great job. Boom. We can move on from this one. Oh, wait, hold on. 13 colonies. Diego Alcala was a plan to. Very good. See? It's not that hard. My goodness, y'all, you guys are too shy. Here we go. Now we're going to talk about the causes of the French and Indian War. So what things led to the British and the French fighting? Ugh. Okay. The first one is a territory, right? That the French and the English were fighting for. What is the name of it? They wanted it because he had a lot of land that you could use for farming and the fur. I'll give you a couple more seconds to think about it and then answer it. Then I'll move on to the next one. Remember, this is the piece of land they were fighting for the whole time. Okay, next question. The American Indians were upset at this group of people who kept moving into their territory and taking their home. So this is the second reason that we go to war. Why were the American Indians so upset? Who were they? And here's a clue. The 13 colonies, those were the people that were invading their home. Who are they owned by, the French or the British? And last but not least, this man was responsible for starting a conflict with the French when he was ordered by the governor of Virginia to go settle a dispute in the Ohio River Valley. So who was it? Look at the hint. Don't be afraid to be wrong. I notice that some of you guys wait to the last moment, and I don't know what it is, if it's because you're lagging, or if it's a confidence thing. Trust yourself, especially here. Like, we're doing this together. There's no reason why you should be afraid to answer. All right, just so you know, territories that the French and the English were fighting for, the Ohio River Valley. American Indians were upset at the British colonists who kept moving into their territory and taking their home. Remember, the 13 colonies are owned by England. They're together. This man was responsible for starting a conflict with the French after he was ordered by the governor of Virginia to settle a dispute of the Ohio River Valley. The man in the dollar bill, George Washington, right? All right. Most of us did excellent in this one. I'm very proud of you guys. Way to redeem yourself after the little hiccup that we had. All right, here we go. Britain, England, and France go to war. The British and the French had allies to ask for help. Match their allies correctly. Who was with the British? Who was with the French? Match them together, people. All right, I'm going to give you another 30 seconds, but before I do that, let me tell you, for those of you that were struggling, how it worked. The French were in blue, the British were in yellow, the British were in red. The French were in blue, the British were in red. See if that helps for those of you that did not get to answer. If you already answered, just hold on 30 seconds. We'll get to it. Remember, the French are in blue, the British are in red. Who are their friends? Who's friends with the French? Who's friends with the British? All right, so the French, right? The French were, their ally, their friend was who? Alrighty, then we still got a couple people struggling here, but never mind, never mind. Awesome job. Remember that the British were with the 13 colonies, right? They were together, they were friends. So they were fighting, the British and the 13 colonies were fighting the French and the Native Americans. Why were they fighting them? Over the Ohio River Valley. They wanted the same land. So whoever wins gets the land. Okay, fact or fib, and it has to do with the French and Indian War. All you have to do is tell me whether you think this is true or false. What I'm going to do the first 2 minutes, I'm going to let you work on them on your own, and then we'll go back together and do it together. So what I want you to do is answer all of them, and then come back, and we'll do them together. Don't submit it. Go back to number 1, and then we'll get started. So just go for it. Answer them. See how you do without me. See how much you know without me. And then once I tell you when, you go back and we'll do them together. Don't submit. I'll go over it in 1 more minute. Around the 3-minute mark. So like I said, just go through it. Don't worry about it. Just don't submit it, and then we'll come back and you'll see which ones you got right, which ones you got wrong. And you can get a perfect score. I just want you to try without me first. Don't be afraid to be wrong. All right, 30 more seconds. I'll go over it. Again, just don't submit it. I don't have my timer. I don't know where it is. My goodness. No, don't. I mean, if you feel confident about it, go for it, Manuel, by all means. But most of you, I would say just wait it out and then we'll go over it. And if you're right, cool. If you're not, at least you can change it and you know where you were wrong. Alrighty then, let's get started. Let's review. Let's go over it together as one. All right. One factor that led France to be triumphant in the French and Indian War was that they were willing to pay whatever financial price to win the war. So, did France win the war? No, thank you, Ethan. They did not. So this is a lie. Who won it? Who paid whatever price to win it? Anyone know? England, very good. Speaking of the English, the Treaty of Paris of 1763 ended the French and Indian War. Remember that a treaty is when two countries get together and they sign a paper that tells them that the war is over, that they stop fighting. So is this a fact or a fib? Anyone? Fact, very good. The fact is, you're correct. All right, King George III is King of France during the French and Indian War. Just look at the uniform that he's wearing. It's red, right? So if he has a red uniform, who would he be king of? France or Britain? Britain, very good. So this is a fib. He was not the king of France. King George III was king of England and the 13 colonies. Good, 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 good. The Proclamation of 1763 created tensions between the 13 colonies and King George III because it forbid the colonists from acquiring land west of the Appalachian Mountains. Alrighty, guys, real quick. Is this a fact or a fib? Who's feeling confident with his answer? Giselle's feeling confident, and Giselle is correct. Remember, it was a border that the king created because he was so scared of going to war with the Native Americans. So he told the colonists, you shall not pass the Appalachian Mountains. So, last question. What was the geographic feature that the British used as a boundary to keep the 13 colonies away from the Ohio River Valley? What was the name of those mountains? Fib. Okay, good. So it wasn't the Rocky Mountains, right? Anyone know what the name of the mountains were? The App, right? I like to call them the App Mountains because they go first, then Rocky, right? In the alphabetical order. Alphabetical order. So this is a fib. The proclamation line of 1763 was not the Rocky Mountains. The proclamation line, that border that the king created to keep the colonists away from the Ohio River Valley, that was the Appalachian Mountains. All right, we did pretty good. We did pretty good. I'm very proud of us. All right, all right. Okay. The next activity that we're going to do is very simple. We're going to learn about the effects. We learn about the causes. We learn about who won the war, who was part of the war, what they won is what we want to know now. What did they win? What did the British get out of it? What did the colonists get out of it? And we're going to pick 4 out of the 5. And we're going to work together on this. So collaborate. That's what the main point here is. What letters do we pick here? Which ones do you think are correct? Let's light up that chat. First and foremost, what was one of the results of the French and Indian War? Think about the king and England financially. That was an effect. Very good, Diego. England was in debt due to the war costing a lot of money. So that's 1. A, England is in debt due to the war costing a lot of money. What's another one that we could pick? What's another effect of the French and Indian War? Ethan Reese said E. That's correct. Remember that the British were so desperate for money that they started charging taxes to the colonists. Awesome. I see Diego put D. D. Sure. Matter of fact, let's do this. Pause, Diego. We done two. You do the rest. You do the last two. You got 1 minute, and then we'll go over them. I gave you two. Me and the guys gave you two. Well, actually, we gave you all of them, but I'm only going over two right now. The rest you can find in your chat or use your brain. Of complications. I still got 42% that haven't answered. Come on, people. Educated guess. Anything's better than a zero. By the way, I'm not even grading you on this. I'm pretty much just, if you put an answer, I'm giving you credit. Overcomplications. Yeah, 4 out of 5. Correct. 4 out of 5. Sorry, Giselle, I didn't see that. Thank you, Ethan. 4 out of 5 is correct. All righty then, let me show you the answers. We did really good. We had one person pick King George refused to tax the 13 colonies, and that's wrong. Remember, we talked about it. I went over it. I don't know if it was Ethan or Diego or someone said to pick the tax one, which was the first one. The British make new taxes that the colonists would have to pay. And so I don't know if time ran out or you just picked the wrong one. I don't know what it was. But just so you know, the correct effects of the French and Indian War was 1, the British were in debt. 2, the British passed the Proclamation of 1763 so the colonists could not cross the Appalachian Mountains and start a war with the Native Americans. 3, the British gained control of the Ohio River Valley, and or the British start passing new taxes that are going to be super annoying to the 13 colonies. All right. Before I move on, can anyone tell me a tax that we talked about yesterday? What was taxed by the king? Now that we know that the French and Indian War led to the king being broke, and he led to the king taxing the 13 colonies. Sugar. He was taxing them with sugar. Anyone else remember another one? One more? Man, how do I not have it? Oh. That's right. Tea, paper, paper. Yes. Awesome. Those were all taxes that the king proposed to them. And that's the next thing that we're going to be talking about, the last thing of today. But before we jump into that, I do want to ask you one more time. Now, how do you feel? Now, here's how you're going to answer. If you learned a little bit more today than you did yesterday, or better yet, if you feel confident about the French and Indian War, pick A. If you don't feel confident, pick B. And you can be honest. It's okay. We're going to get a chance to review some other time. And I will bring you back. I just want to know how you're feeling right now. Okay, I figured people run out of time, so I'm going to give you one more shot to get it done. Hold on. Okay, real quick. If you haven't answered, answer. And again, I'm not taking this personally. I'm not going to be like, oh, Juan Davila just answered that he didn't get it. What the heck? Not at all. Not at all. In fact, quite the opposite. But if you're feeling confident, go for it. If you're feeling good about it, then put A. Confidence is important too. Confidence is very important. So if you're feeling good, pick A. If not, that's okay. Pick B. Okay, so we did much better. I see that a lot of you guys feel a little more confident with it than you did before. I know some of us are still feeling a little confused about it, and that's okay. We will, at some point, go over it again, and hopefully by then, you will understand whatever it is that's still confusing. And for those of you that feel a little confused, I challenge you to email me, and this is for extra credit. For those of you that pick no, and if you email me what it is that's confusing about the subject, I will give you extra credit on your lowest grade so far. Not test grades, sorry. But daily grades, yes. So just so you know, for those of you that pick no, if you email me what is confusing about it, I will give you extra credit. And for those that do feel good, I love it. Now I know who I'm going to pick to be my sub if I'm ever out. I'm kidding, guys. All right, thank you for being honest with it. So the last thing that I want to talk about today, the only thing that's left in the agenda for today. Since we talked about the French and Indian War, we talked about how the British and the French were fighting each other because they wanted the Ohio River Valley. And then we talked about how the British won, right, with the help of the 13 colonies. Now let's talk about the effects. And one of the effects, and we mentioned it, was taxes. The king was broke after the war, so he needed money. So he's going to tell the 13 colonies, hey guys, you need to pay for taxes so that we can pay off the war that we fought for you. The colonists are going to react to these taxes. Now, from yesterday's lesson, can anyone tell me what that reaction was? Was it happy or was it sad? Mad. Were they happy about the taxes or mad about the taxes? I need water. They were mad. Very good. Okay. And one of the first things that they do to let the king know how upset they are is that they start to protest, right? Does anyone know what a protest is? Or can you give me an example of protesting? I'm sure you can think of many examples, especially this year. Black Lives Matter, that's very good. Anyone have another one? Trump, that's good. There is people protesting Trump or supporting Trump. It goes both ways. Right. And if you think about it, it feels like everything is getting protested. Even COVID was getting protested. Biden is getting protested. So what does that tell you about our country and protesting? Do we like to protest? We love to protest. That's our thing. One of the biggest things about Americans is that we love to argue. It is ingrained in us. And the reason why we love to argue, we love to protest, it goes all the way back to the 13 colonies. So if you ever find yourself protesting anything in your life, just know that hundreds of years ago, the first people to create this nation were doing the same thing you were doing. So that's a cool little thing right there. Connect, right? If you don't, that's okay. But anyways, the colonists were protesting. That's how they first let the king know that they're upset. And they tell him this slogan. You know how people are saying nowadays, Black Lives Matter, right? Or all lives matter. Now, or back then, sorry, the colonists were saying no taxation without representation. What does that mean? Anyone know? Chat, let's see. Let me see. Okay, that's great. No taxation without representation is very simple. They were telling the king, they were telling England that they did not, that all they wanted was a voice. They believed in the consent of the governed. That means they believed that no matter who you were, a leader, a government, a king, a dictator, doesn't matter who you are. If you're in charge of people, you cannot be in charge of people without their consent. In other words, if he wants to make a rule or a law, he needs to first ask their approval, ask their permission. And how does he get that approval? Think about it this way. How does Trump get your approval? How does Trump get to be your president for the next 4 years? Right, Ms. Limon, that's correct. That they want us. Correct. They want to say on what they're getting taxed on. Very good. So again, how do we get people to, how do we get our government to listen to us? How would the colonists get the king? Yes, Giselle, awesome, correct. voting. That's what they wanted. They wanted a chance to vote. They wanted a chance to say, I like that tax. I don't like that tax. They were cool with the taxes. They just were not cool with the fact that they were not allowed to choose what rules or to have a voice. Like Ms. Limon said it, and she said it perfectly. They wanted a say on what they were getting taxed on. Beautiful. And how do you think the king reacts to all those protests? Is he going to be like, okay, cool, I'll listen to you, sure? Or do you think the king will be like, yeah, right, I'm the king? He was, if you don't know, the king was like, whatever. He was like, yes, yeah, right, I'm not going to listen to you. I'm the king. I do whatever I want to do. So at the end, the king does not listen to the colonists. And that's going to lead to the last thing that I want to talk about today. The colonists' reaction to the king not listening to their words. No taxation without representation. The colonists are going to get so upset that some of them, one of them by the name of Samuel Adams, is going to create a group known as the Sons of Liberty. Samuel Adams and the Sons of Liberty are going to form this group to protest the king and to boycott his any British goods. What does boycott mean? Does anyone know what boycott means? All right. Boycott is when you refuse to buy something from someone when you're mad at them for a reason, right? Usually it's because you're mad at them, you're upset. So for example, if Raul goes to Target and the people in Target make fun of Raul, then Raul can be like, you know what? That's it. I'm tired of Target. I'm boycotting it. And what that means is that Raul will not buy anything from Target, no matter how much he might want to buy from Target. He will not buy from Target. And that's what the colonists did. The Sons of Liberty decided to let the king know they were upset by stop buying his goods. So no British goods were allowed to be bought by the Sons of Liberty. So the king reacts to that. The king's like, oh, you're going to stop buying my goods? You're going to start buying other people's goods? All right. So who does he send to make sure that they're buying his goods? Who does he send so that they can go into the colonist home and check to see if they were smuggling goods? That's right, Ethan. He sends his soldiers. He sends his soldiers. And that's what happens next. The soldiers are sent there, and the soldiers' job is to go in there and make sure that the colonists are following the rules and the laws. And the colonists react to this as well. And now they're getting more violent because now their home is getting invaded. Their stuff is getting stolen. Now it's becoming more violent. So what I'm about to show you is the environment that they were in. I want you to see what the 13 colonies look like right before the American Revolution happens. This is what it looked like in your country before we fight the British. The guy that you're about to see, I don't know, can you see him on your screen? Can anyone tell me if the screen's working or not? I was showing the video of my last period, and one of the kids told me, sir, I can't see anything. And the whole video was playing. And I'm like, no. Okay, yes. Thank you. Okay, so the guy that you're about to see, by the way, I do warn you, it is a little bit graphic, but I want you to understand the environment, how angry people were. So the guy that you're about to see right now, the one who's talking, he's a tax collector. He was hired by the king, just like the soldiers were, to make sure that the colonists were paying their taxes and following the rules. So the tax collector is going to talk to this guy and tell them like, hey, listen, you owe us money. And the people behind him are the Sons of Liberty. So watch what the Sons of Liberty do to this man, to this tax collector.
Who may you be, sir?
John Hancock, ship owner.
Not John Hancock, a smuggler?
Watch your words, sir. I'm an honest man being strangled by Monopoly.
Shame on you, sir!
Monopoly.
Sorry, I paused it because that guy right there, the one that's yelling, shame on you, that's Samuel Adams. Okay, that's the leader of the Sons of Liberty. Okay, I just wanted to clarify. Okay.
Shame on you, sir!
Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you.
People are hurt when they fight for what is rightfully theirs!
You approve a brutal and illegal act to enforce a political principle, Sam! Answer me that, can you?
All right. I just wanted to show you the environment that it's like. And some of you may have seen or may connect this with things that we're seeing today. Yeah, right. It was crazy. But this man, again, he did nothing but do his job. But he represented the British and the king. So they're going to kill him because he does die after this. Those kind of burns, you'll die. Back then, there was no medical help like there is today. Today, you can survive a burn from hot tar. But back then, you couldn't. It was just, you were going to die no matter what. Yeah, so now you get it. Like, things are getting real. And the relationship between the king and the 13 colonies is becoming unfixable. At some point, that relationship will break. And this is the steps that are leading to the Revolutionary War. Okay. All right, we are going to finish it off with the last thing of today, which is just a quick check for understanding. And then, like I said before, no exit ticket today. After this, you are free to go. In fact, as soon as you turn it in, you've completed it, you can exit out and have a great day. If you have a question, please let me know. So real quick, slogan used by colonists to express their anger. What was that slogan? Remember, they were upset because the colonists kept passing the Sugar Act. What are those called? The Stamp Act, all those. It was a slogan. Speaking of the slogan, what does no taxation without representation mean? By the way, if you pick a wrong answer, you can always go back and change it if you want to, as long as you're not submitting. Okay, what does no taxation without representation mean? We talked about it, right? The colonists were upset. They wanted the king to give them a voice. They wanted the king to let them have a say in what they're doing, just like Ms. Limon mentioned. Oh, yeah, they did. That's pretty good. Yes, they did. That was another practice by the Sons of Liberty. That one, and they also had they would lynch them too. They would hang a rope on a tree, and they would put it right in front of the tax collector's home. And then when the tax collector would get there, they would hang him. Yeah, the news. What does no taxation without representation mean? Remember, every government needs to have consent from its people. What does consent of governed mean? Remember, we talked about it. You need the permission of the people before you can rule them, all right? They need a say, they need a vote, just like we're going to do it in November. We get to pick our new president or keep our current president. And last but not least, the British taxes contributed to the colonists' disdain for Britain because why were they so upset at the taxes? Why were they so upset? Remember, no taxation without representation. And last but not least, Samuel Adams, the guy that you just saw, approved of that horrible beating that was provided to that tax collector. That dude that said, "Shame on you." Why was he so upset? Why did he create the Sons of Liberty? Who was he upset at, right? So recap of the answers, just so you know how you did. First of all, the slogan was no taxation without representation. 2, colonists believed that the government should allow them to have a say in what they do. So they believe that people should have representation. The reason why the colonists were so upset at the taxes was that they were being taxed without representation, without a vote. They want a vote. They want a say. And last but not least, the primary reason Samuel Adams founded the Sons of Liberty, because he was protesting. He was angry at the king. He's like, no more king. Perfect, 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 perfect. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it was a pleasure having you here. We are done for today. Just know that there is no exit ticket today. So if you haven't finished your other exit tickets, you know what you need to do. And if we do good in most of my classes, which we have, tomorrow I'll do the same thing. No exit ticket tomorrow, maybe. It just depends on my next classes. So far, I'm saying yes, but I don't want to lie to you. Depends on my other classes. Okay, you're free to go. Have a great day. If you have a question, please ask. Bye, Raul. Bye, Cesar. We do have meets. We do have meets. I just meant like no exit ticket tomorrow, maybe. Maybe. I didn't mean to confuse you with that. I just meant maybe no exit ticket tomorrow. Sorry. We do. Have a great day. Bye, Jacob. Bye, Aiden. Oh, man, I forgot to thank my girl. You too, Aiden. Have a great day. Giselle, you were awesome. Your reading set that you don't have live sessions tomorrow? Oh my God. We don't. That's true. I blanked out. Shoot. Thanks, yourself. Thank you. I totally forgot about that. All right, cool. I'll make mental note. Bye. Don't worry about it then. I'll post it, Giselle. Don't worry. I'll let them know today. Hey, Selena. You okay? You want to ask me any questions? Hold on, let me. Oh, okay. Bye, Selena.